Hey, what's up? What's going on? It's Mary Jane. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please like the video. It'd be greatly appreciated from the bottom of my heart. So anyways, we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta. The reunion part 4 basically. So we get into it. Porsha says it was Phaedra that told her that Todd and Candy wanted to drug her basically. So anyways, and guess what? Phaedra says, no, I did not say that. Of course she was going to say that. And so, Porsha goes, yes, you did tell me that. You did tell me that. Phaedra, explain. You did tell me that. I heard you say that. I told you that 2 days. I talked to you 2 days ago and you told me that you heard it from Candy. That Candy is the one that told you this information, basically. She's the one that told you. You told me this 3 years ago. And then I talked to you the other day, which 2 days ago, you told me that you got the information from Candy, basically. So, Porsha feels like, okay, she's lying to me. And Porsha feels like she's been set up and she's been thrown under the bus. But now Porsha is taking back her power and she's throwing Phaedra under the bus, basically. And Phaedra's not really trying to go under that bus so nice and neat. She's fighting back. So basically, it's just like, Porsha wants to know, what was your motive? What was your motive, Phaedra? Why would you tell me this? Why would you tell me that? And so Porsha's like, I didn't connect it that, what happened to me 3 years ago with Todd and Candy when we was out in Vegas or whatever. Then you tell me this 2 days ago that, that Candy told you this. So to Porsha, the timeline is not adding it right. It's like afterwards, Phaedra told her about Todd and Candy trying to drug her, which is not true at all. So basically, Porsha's brain is working and it's moving fast and it's moving swift, and she's realizing that Phaedra did lie to her, and basically she wants Phaedra to own up for this, because basically throughout the whole season, Porsha's been thrown under the bus and she's been getting hit and hit and hit. But at the reunion, it's time for Phaedra to take some of these blows and some of these hits, basically. So anyways, Porsha says, you told me that. And so, Phaedra's like, no, I did not say that. Maybe you misheard me. Maybe you misheard it wrong. Maybe you didn't understand what I was saying. And then Porsha was like, no, I understood you clearly. You told me 2 days ago. I asked you 3 times. Where did you get the information from? Who told you this? Where did you get it from? And you said that Candy told you herself, which make no sense at all for Candy to tell Phaedra that, when Phaedra is an attorney, when Phaedra is friends with both of these girls, and Porsha is friends with Candy. So basically, why would Candy say anything like that, period, when she's friends with both of these females at the time? So it was like, if Porsha would have used just an ounce of her brain cells, she would have realized that maybe this is not adding up. Just like she's on stage and she's realizing that this shit ain't adding up, she should have did that beforehand, before she got on and repeated something that someone told her. And basically, Phaedra is just like, I'm just repeating what was said to me. And then Porsha was like, no, you're not gonna get out of this by saying that you're repeating something. You told me that you heard it from the horse's mouth, which is Candy, basically. So Phaedra's trying to hold on to dear life, saying that she's repeating it, because basically Porsha is saying that she's repeating what she heard, basically. And then Porsha's like, I'm not going to repeat something like that. I made sure that I talked to Phaedra multiple times to make sure it came from Candy, because I didn't want to go off of secondhand information or third-hand information, basically. But on the couch, Kenya and Todd are like, this is bullshit. They're acting, they're lying, they're playing games. And Kenya is just like throwing and chiming, and so is Todd, basically, like, these lying ass bitches. Look at this lying ass Phaedra. They're acting, they're playing, basically. So it is what it is. And then Candy said, this is why I feel like Phaedra pulls your strings, basically. Like, you're her puppet, because basically she set you up all season to take this fall, knowing that she's the one that told you this information and said that she got it from me, and she still didn't jump in and defend you. She still didn't own up to anything, and you kept on defending her. You defended her the first episode of the reunion, the second episode, the third episode, and now the fourth episode of the reunion. reunion, you're not defending her. So basically, Kandi is calling out Porsha for being a puppet, basically. But I think Kandi kind of gets that Porsha's not all that bright and bright or whatever, and Phaedra is very controlling, and she can maneuver her way around people basically and make and use them as pawns basically. But only way you can be used as a pawn if you want to be used as a pawn. Basically, you have to be able to use your mind and think. You're not 18, you're not 16, you're not 14, you're not 13. You are 31, 32, 33, whatever, or 34 years old. You should not be able to be used as a pawn. You should think before you say things. You should try to make factual the information basically. Or say, does this really make sense? Just like Porsha said, that I really didn't believe that Todd and Kandi would do something like that to me, because we hung out on numerous times, and Todd says the same thing, that we hung out numerous times, we've been around each other. And so Porsha was like, yeah, I didn't really believe it, but since it came from my best friend, someone I trusted, someone that I love, someone I hold dearly to me, I thought she was looking out for my best interest. I didn't think that she would go this low and stoop this low to lie. But basically, have you been watching the season, all the seasons of Atlanta Housewives? And on top of that, why would you put yourself in a situation legally where you could be sued for slander basically? But I'm getting that Porsha thinks that it's okay since it came from Phaedra and Phaedra's attorney, and she knows the law. And Porsha did say this throughout the reunion, that she's a she's a legitimate certified attorney. She's a smart woman. So I'm thinking whatever she's telling me to say or do, that it's legal because she knows the law and I don't know shit basically. So anyways, we see how Phaedra played Porsha. So basically, when Kandi met up with Porsha during out the season to hash things out, Porsha had talked to Phaedra 2 days before that, and Phaedra was giving her information to use against Kandi. So basically, it seems like when Porsha met up with Kandi, she wasn't trying to mend any wounds. She wasn't trying to mend any fences. She wasn't trying to be back friends with Kandi. Basically, she got on the phone with Phaedra and she plotted to say some things at Kandi if Kandi came at her side, eye, or anyway. But Kandi didn't do anything to her at this point. Nothing to her, basically. She just came after Kandi because of what Phaedra told her about the drugging situation, and then Phaedra told her about the Marvin, to use the Marvin thing basically. They didn't really bring up the dungeon, who told her about the dungeon or whatever, but they did bring up about the but Porsha did say that she went online and she found information about Phaedra being about Kandi being with a woman for 7 years or whatever. So basically Kandi went, Porsha went with the intent when she went to go meet up with Kandi. So Kandi's thinking they're going to hash things out. And that's what the viewers were thinking, they're going to hash things out. It's not going to be all negative. But basically, Porsha came to the event to be negative. She came there with information. She came there with blows to throw, basically. Not really trying to hear Kandi out, because basically you don't talk to somebody before you're going to meet up with them and then get all this information. Then when you go up to meet them, maybe you're trying to be ready, but if this is really your friend and you really care for her and you really love her, like you said on the show that you love Kandi, when you was in your dressing room talking to Andy, you wouldn't have thrown her out in the street like you did with all these false accusations and all this propaganda you said about Kandi. If you really love her, when you love somebody, you don't dirty them up on national TV. You do it on the phone or you text, basically. So I don't see where you have love for Kandi at. If you had love for Kandi, how come you didn't go talk to Kandi and say, hey, I got this from Phaedra. This is what Phaedra said to me, basically. And even with the situation in Hawaii, when it was brought to your attention as well, Porsha, about about when you guys were talking about the rape allegations, basically. How come you didn't mention it to Kandi, talk to Kandi on the side and say, hey, this is what I need to tell you? And then Phaedra didn't even step up then. And Andy asked her, how come you didn't step up then when Kandi looked at you over and over and said, come on, defend me, Phaedra. I wouldn't do anything like this. I don't do drugs. I wouldn't do anything like this. And that's when, Porsha was like, well, when I seen Kandi look at Phaedra for help, saying to defend me, I thought it was kind of weird. I thought, like, why would she be looking for Phaedra to help her when she's the one that told Phaedra that that she tried to drug her basically. So her brain was working, but it should have worked a little bit quicker and a little bit sooner than before that. But you still, like I said, the first episode of the reunion, first, second, and third, you were still defending Phaedra, and I believe that you knew this was gonna come down to this, and you wasn't gonna be in the punching bag no more anyways. So it is what it is. And so Porsha was like, Phaedra, you did say that Candy told you this. Don't make me bring out the text messages. Don't make me do that. I don't even want to bring out I don't even want to show any receipts. I don't want to show any receipts like that. You're just gonna tell the damn truth right here and right now. I want to hear the truth. Todd's in the background like, drag her. It's okay to drag her, Porsha. So it's just like, damn, are you that simple minded? Porsha, where you could never put anything together until now, that you were getting played and misused, especially when you had a friend like Shamia trying to tell you what was good and what was going on. It's just like, damn, it's like a hard head make a soft ass, basically, and that's what it is. And so, Porsha is crying up a storm. Todd is on the side. It's like, don't cry now, motherfucker. And then here comes Kenya. Kenya was like, she ain't crying. I don't see no tears. I don't see nothing falling down them face. Then Porsha once again says, I would never ever say that. I would never ever say anything like that. I was told that it was true what I was being told. I was told in confidence by my best friend, Phaedra, basically. And so she's crying, and Kenya was like, look at them, there ain't no tears coming down them eyes. She ain't really crying at all. And then Porsha goes, you told me, she told you that. Just talk, Phaedra. And Phaedra's being asked to talk, and Phaedra won't really say anything. Phaedra was like, tell me what's going on. I don't know what's going on, basically. And then so Porsha was like, you told me that 2 nights ago on the phone, basically. So it's like the same shit getting repeated over and over and over. And Porsha goes, I am not a liar. I'm not a liar. And then Phaedra goes, I know you're not a liar, basically. And then Phaedra goes, so then Andy says to Phaedra, you told her that Candy told you that Porsha was going, that you told Porsha that Candy told you that her and Ty was trying to drug Porsha, basically. And there's no response from Phaedra. So when there's no response from Phaedra, she's lying. She's an attorney. And usually when people are caught in their lie, they don't say anything. So Porsha walks off stage. Todd is like, don't leave. Let's get down to the bottom of this. Don't leave yet. So anyways, and so Kenya goes, don't leave. Don't go nowhere now. Don't go nowhere now, girl. Where you going? Don't go nowhere. Your feet is to the fire, you bitches. And Kenya is in heaven, because she knows that finally somebody caught these girls up in these lies, and it's being revealed to the world that they are liars. So basically, now I kind of believe that Phaedra will call the city and the state on Candy to make sure that her business don't open. She has to pay more money and more fines and things like that to get it open. Because basically, when you accuse somebody of rape, that is really wrong. And Candy is like, do you know what that is? Candy was like, under my page, I look and it goes #Candy, aka Bill Cosby, basically. And Candy was like, you're an attorney, Phaedra. Don't you know what that is? When you're out with somebody and they're drinking, then you drug them and you take them home to have sex, that's rape. And everybody was like, yeah, that is rape. And then Porsha, with her face or whatever, it's just unbelievable. But people do shit like this, and this is shady, coming from an attorney, coming from a used-to-be wife, coming from a pastor, coming from a mother of 2, to behave like this and then just be brought out like this. It's terrible. And basically, Apollo probably can use part of this videotape showing Phaedra's characteristics and how she lies and how she manipulates people and how she uses people. So if I was you, Apollo, I'll ask Bravo for a copy, or I have your new fiance copy this show so the judge can see her character, her characteristics, her traits, basically. And I'm pretty sure the judge will probably side with you, Apollo, even though you're a thief. But anyways, moving on. So Porsha comes back and she goes, I'm really asking you right now. I'm really asking you right now. This is what the streets was. You got me looking crazy out here in these streets. People thinking I'm stupid, I'm dumb. I'm out here lying on Candy and all this other stuff. I can lose my job behind this. You know what I'm saying? I got a assist and deceased letter, and I just want you to handle the situation. I've been handling all season, getting shitted on by everybody, and I came up with this room in Hawaii, and I continue to get shitted on, and now this is your turn. It's your turn to get shitted on. I did it. I did it the first part of the reunion, the second part, and the third part. But now it's your turn. So, anyways, so Porsha keep asking Phaedra, "Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Why would you throw me under the bus like that?" Because it's easy to do. You're easy to be manipulated. You're easy to believe anything, and you don't question anything. So of course Phaedra felt like it was easy to do you like that. She wouldn't have did that to Cynthia. She wouldn't have did that to Kenya. She wouldn't have did that to Shamia. She wouldn't have did that to Candy, because they have their own mind. Porsha, you don't have your own mind, and basically you looked up to Phaedra, which was a wrong move, and you were really warned about not doing it. I bet you your sister warned you as well. I bet you your mother warned you, because I know your mother knows what type of woman Phaedra is, because they're around the same age, and I bet you your mother read you about Phaedra, letting you know that Phaedra was no good. I know your mother did that. I know she did, especially when she was over there asking for an African with money when she's still married and her husband being locked up for from stealing money or whatever from employees. Like, he was able to pull that off by himself. So anyways, Porsha goes, "I would never lie on somebody. I would never lie on somebody like that. I trusted you as a friend. I would never think you would do anything to damage me or damage someone else." Candy, even if someone told you that, bitch, even someone told you the information, why would you believe it? Why would you even repeat it? If I was your friend, why didn't you come to me and say, "This is what I heard. This is what I was told," even before it got on camera? Because basically, Candy put money in your pocket. She gave you jobs. She helped you out with singing. She supported you a lot. So, and you hung out with her and her family. So if someone told you, when Phaedra told you this information, how come you didn't talk to Candy in confidence, say, "Hey, I don't want you to go back to say anything, but this is blah blah blah"? But if you probably would have, it probably would have been a boring season, and we wouldn't have 4 parts of a reunion if you would have gave Candy the heads up and talked to her, because she's really your friend. You say that you love her. If you love Candy and someone said this about someone that you love, shouldn't you give them the courtesy to go tell them privately and personally and try to hash that out, instead of just throwing it in their face in an argument that's on camera, so you can get kudos and accolades, and thinking that you read Candy and all this other stuff? So there's not 1 ounce of me to believe that you love Candy, because if you love somebody, you wouldn't. If you know that could really hurt them, and you, like you said, is damaging, low down information. If you know that, why would you put that information out without talking to her if you loved her? What is your definition of love, Porsha? Let's get down to that. What is your definition of love? So anyways, moving forward. So basically, it is what it is. And so, Candy's like, "I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do none of that bullshit." But I must say this, Candy, I know you don't drink, I know you don't smoke. There's a lot of rapists out here that don't drink and don't smoke, and they carry date rape drugs and drugs like that to drug people. Just because you don't do drugs doesn't mean you won't drug somebody else. But I know you won't do that, Candy, and I know you have not done that. But I'm just saying, theoretically, and with people watching this show, that there are plenty of people here that do rape other people by drugging them, but they don't use drugs as well. So to America, look out for that. Just always be safe and careful when you're taking drinks with anybody, or you're out in the club with anybody, or whatever. Just be aware. If someone says that they don't do this and do that, still give them the side eye. Still look at them like, okay, it's a possibility this can happen. So cover your drink, watch your drink, and don't take drinks from strangers unless you are visually seeing it being made. And once it's made, it's handed directly to you, basically. So anyways, moving forward. So we get to, I guess Porsha puts it all together that, she told her this 3 years ago and all that other bullshit. So Porsha's adding up the time where now it seems like this was a calculating thing to do on Phaedra's end, basically. So if that's true, if Phaedra and Porsha are not acting, basically. And And Todd says to Phaedra, "You're always lying. You're always fucking lying." And Kenya's like, "You're always lying. That's all she does is lie." And Andy says, "Do you not remember saying that?" Andy says to Phaedra, "Do you not remember saying that about Candy?" And that Candy wanted to drug Porsha basically, and Phaedra did not respond as usual. Cynthia goes, "All the reckless shit that we have said about each other, and all the things that we do and shit like that about each other, shit on each other. Our mothers talk about, like, Candy mother talk about, Phaedra, all that other bullshit. But never in my life I would think that somebody would make up a lie saying that one cast member would want to drug another cast member and lie just to hurt them." So basically, it's showing us as how pressed Phaedra is and how hurt that she is by Candy, that it's just very vindictive. Basically, like, Andy was like, "You remember when you said that you love Candy more than you loved your own husband?" Basically, she was like, "Yeah, I did at the time. Yeah, I remember saying that." So did Phaedra do this because she felt betrayed by Candy holding Apollo stuff when he was friends with Todd, or did she have did she want Candy in a certain way and Candy was paying her dust? Because to go to these lengths and extent to go after Candy, you really have to be pressed and really be disgusted and hate this person that you will go after them any way possible. Or is it just to stay relevant on a TV show because they talk about her bringing up Johnny, whatever? And Phaedra was like, he came to me, Blase and the third, so I recommend him to these other lawyers, and he asked me to accompany him, so I accompanied Johnny to go to this lawyer. And so then Candy was like, "So how did you come up with $2 and 0 and 1 cent basically?" And she was like, "Oh, it's simple math, it's arithmetic basically." I was like, "Oh no." And so Candy was like, "That's another situation. She sent after me. Now this guy is suing me for like $168,000 basically, and he's running up the attorney fees, and to have Candy, eventually might have to pay these fees basically." And it's like, and so Candy's pointing out, this is how trifling she's coming after me from my character. She's coming after my pockets. She's coming after my husband, my relationship with that, because she's the one that made up the Marvin situation that Porsha used to confront Candy on camera. So basically, it's like Phaedra is coming after. She is attacking Candy's reputation, her business, her marriage, her family, and her pockets basically. So $168,000 is probably not that much, but what if you don't have $600,000 laying around to pay for a frivolous lawsuit that someone actually makes sure it happened because they hate you and they're not your friend anymore, and this person is a vindictive employee that wants to come after you because they quit. They started talking shit about the boss. You don't talk shit about your boss in a public forum or two people if you want to keep your job, because somebody's going to tell. You know why? Because somebody wants your spot. Somebody always wants somebody else's spot. That's just how it is. And if you give them ammunition to use to take your spot, they will. Just like Phaedra. It's like Phaedra wants Candy's spot. Phaedra's not married anymore. She's a single mom. You know what I mean? Now Candy's married. She just had a baby, and she's being fruitful, and she's multiplying in her business and with kids basically. So and Phaedra used to have that type of reputation, that type of lifestyle, but she don't have that anymore basically. And she had done Candy wrong with the videotape and all that other shit, talking about my money. This what they did, the videotape and all that, the exercise tape and stuff like that. So it's like Phaedra feels like she has amicable reasons. She has so many reasons to come after Candy that it is what it is to her. And basically, Phaedra feels like she's been done wrong, she's been hurt, and so basically she's gonna put Candy feet to the fire any way she fucking can, and she don't care if it hurts her basically. But basically, Phaedra is really trying to cover herself legally so she can be sued for slander. That's why she's like saying it must have been a mistake, or maybe I screwed up on my part, maybe you misheard me, I repeated it, because she's not owning up to anything. And Andy at the end says, "I feel like you're not owning up to nothing." No, she's not, because she's not going to own up to anything legally where she can be sued basically, because that could possibly give Candy the ammunition to sue her as well. if she wanted to, because of the Johnny situation. $168,000 on some bullshit. It's supposed to be overtime, paying lawyer fees, that witch keeps calculating and going up and going up. And basically, they talked to Phaedra about the Mr. Chocolate thing. And, Phaedra goes, I wasn't messing with a Mr. Chocolate. I didn't have a Mr. Chocolate. It wasn't anything like that. And I felt like she was coming after me, saying that about me, which wasn't true and which wasn't right. Okay, that's the case. But Kandi does have a little bit of receipts on that. Then Apollo also backed, Kandi, saying that she's with Chocolate. Then Phaedra goes, white chocolate is my best friend, basically covering that up. So basically, it seems like that. And then, Kandi goes, what about if I would have brought the lady on that wrote that book about you, and I would have given her camera time, and I would have told people to purchase her book like you did with Johnny. You went on camera with Johnny, you brought him on a show, you went to go visit with him with different lawyers and everything, and you accompanied him and everything like that. What if I would have did that with the lady that wrote that book about you? You don't make me drag you in these streets. Kandi, you should have dragged her, what she did to you, but I guess you want to take the high road, the high road, basically. My shirts, whatever. So you want to take the high road, but I just went on to like just bullshit, basically. And Todd is like, I came here when I first joined this stage. I was with a whole bunch of other husbands, and now I'm the only husband that's left here. And it seems like you two ladies want to tear me down, and you want me off this stage because misery love company. And you said a mouthful, Todd, because Phaedra can't brag on her husband no more. She can't do that. And poor Sheree probably never gonna get married again. And Porsha, she's I don't know if she's gonna get married because she's really into girls more than she's into guys, I believe. So it is what it is. So I'm so glad that Porsha threw Phaedra under the bus. It was about time. But you know what, Porsha was like, I'm not losing my job behind this. I took too many L's, but I'm bouncing back. I took an L the last episode, but I'm bouncing back. I'm bouncing back, baby. I took an L last week, but I'm bouncing back. I'm bouncing back. So Porsha's trying to bounce back from them L's. And then it was even disrespectful when Porsha was talking to Shamia. Shamia came to Porsha to talk to her. I'd be like, yo, you can't continue to let people use you and manipulate you and abuse you. I'm not trying to throw it up in your face. And Phaedra was like, and Porsha was like, I just need you to be here. I just need you to be present in this moment. I understand that when cake and egg and shit is all over your face and you still got to go back out there and deal with that situation, you don't want to hear none of that shit. You don't. Even though Shamia was trying to do it the right way, she didn't want to hear none of that shit. They did have a break, and they did have a break or whatever. And it was funny when Kenya was on the phone, was like, she ain't gonna try to pull that shit on me ever, whatever. And then she goes, she's not gonna pull that shit on me on a Wednesday, and then or a Friday at 1 p.m. And then the friend that she's talking to says, well, she ain't gonna try to pull that shit on me ever, but if she pulls it on a Sunday, I might have to forgive her because I'm a Christian. I wrote that down, but I don't know where the fuck it's at because it was like a lot of bullshit going on. So it was just, I'm trying to get through it. So that was funny. And basically, everybody's like shocked that it was actually Phaedra, the one that said it, basically. So also when Phaedra went into Porsha's dressing room, she did try to say like, oh, I didn't say that. It was just repeated to me. And then, Porsha goes, well, if it was repeated to you, why would you repeat it to me, not knowing if it was true or not? And basically, and so now I'm feeling like, okay, now, Porsha is taking the medicine, basically. And so then, Phaedra goes, Phaedra goes, no, then Porsha goes, so you really told me that because you was worried about me or whatever? Because Phaedra says, basically, you're my friend. If I was really your friend, if something would have happened to you, I would have felt guilty. Like if Todd of Kandi would have drugged you, whatever, I would have felt guilty if I didn't tell you straight up or whatever. So then Porsha goes, so you're saying that the reason why you lied and said that Candy told you that is so you can get my attention and so that I can be aware. Basically, at that point, they tried to make it look better, try to put flowers on a bunch of shit, basically. And it was like, Porsha was giving her out, and Phaedra was getting out and trying to get in there, basically making sure that it's not legal. So right there and then, right there, Phaedra really owned up and said, I lied. And she said, I lied because I just really wanted to get your attention. I just really want you to be aware of what was going on. And so then, Porsha goes, so you really believe that? So basically that part of the videotape, Apollo take it to the judge. So anyways, basically it's just, everyone's just like, it's all bullshit basically. And it was like, Phaedra, when you guys were in Hawaii, how come you didn't step up and say anything then? How come you just let Porsha eat dirt basically? And then Candy was like, I told you over and over, and I was asking you to defend me or whatever, and no, I wouldn't do that, but you're the main one that said that. And it was like, so Andy was like, how come you didn't step up then, basically, or whatever. And then she just didn't. It was just too late basically. And so that's when Porsha was kind of like thinking something was going on. And so basically it is what it is. There's a lot of more things I wanted to talk about, but I'm 30 minutes and maybe I'll do another Real House part 4, just because I did go by every little step that they said, and I wrote it down basically to catch who in this one's in lives. But now I'm tired. It's 1:02 a.m. in the morning. But I might do another video. If not, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please like the video. Please share the video. What up? It's done.